Welcome to the Web Piano Teacher Podcast. Gather together and relax with us as we perform your favorite songs, discuss what makes them great, and how to make it work on piano.
If you'd like to learn, play, and share this song like Shawn does, using his revolutionary whiteboard technique, visit webpianoteacher.com and try out the free membership level. Please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Okay, let's talk about Fleetwood Mac, Rumors album, Don't Stop.
Well, let's sing it first.
Don't stop, yeah. If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes and look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Why not think about the times to come and not about the things that you've done? If your life was a bad to you, just think of what tomorrow will do. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. All I want is to see you smile, if it takes just a little while. I know that you don't believe that it's true. I never meant any harm to you. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Don't you look back. Don't you look back. I was gonna say not much practice, but
We haven't had much practice.
we haven't. I've been listening to it like a ton though.
Yeah, but that's not practicing. That sort of is. A little.
It's not,
a little.
especially when you like are singing along in your car, and then you actually look at the lyrics and you realize you've been singing the wrong thing.
Yeah, and how many cues you take from when you're listening that aren't there when you do it by yourself.
And also, they're a full band,
Mhm.
and they have lots of singers and lots of parts. And when all that's stripped away, you forget or you realize like, oh, it's just different being on your own.
Yeah, and I like the way we do it because we don't. I mean, I catch on to the piano part pretty quick, and you really catch on to vocal parts pretty quick. In fact, I'm always amazed at how you remember every little vocal thing that people put in that I don't even notice sometimes.
You know, that is true. And sometimes I wish I didn't do that because once I hear it,
Mm-hmm.
once I get it in my head, I cannot veer from how they do it. So like trying to do a cover where, you know, like how you make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
I really struggle because once I hear it, that's how my brain works.
Well, that's your greatest strength. You can play other instruments. You have played other instruments, but And sometimes you'll even say, I'm not a musician, but you are. Your voice, if you're a singer, you're a musician.
I know.
Yeah. So,
but you know, I feel like it like alters my like creativity a little bit, because if we're gonna do like a song that's like we're gonna do something, make it our own, I have to try not to. I'll listen to it one time to get just the idea, and then I can't listen to it anymore because I'll be locked in.
Yeah. And I think we do it just the right amount, because we both kind of catch on quick, and we practice enough to where we can get it. But I think there's a point of no return where you practice it so much that you lose the intensity and excitement of it being a new song. You can sort of get flat performance-wise. And even though you may be more exact technically, there's a point where, at least for me, where you start to lose the fun. Okay, doing the song again. And so right now, I feel, at kind of the peak of our performance-wise. I can see that.
I also think just personality-wise, we're project starters, not project finishers.
Yeah.
So, like, let's just...
This is a good thing, yeah.
Like, let's get it done, because if we spent too much time, we would lose energy for the project in general.
And I've got to love what I'm doing, or, I think anybody's like that.
Which this song, I love.
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
Also, we've listened to this one more because it is Jonah and Caroline's favorite on the album.
They do. Now, who wrote this one?
Christine.
Okay.
Yes, it was their third single released.
Okay.
I always get confused because I don't, as much as I love music and like rock and roll and stuff, I don't ever, I wasn't alive when the album came out, but like paid attention to when stuff was released on a radio. So like that a single is released before the full album is released. I don't really have a concept for that, because
I think it's two things. I think one, the record company's kind of testing how well it's going to do, because if it does really well, then they can print more copies. Kind of a gamble for them there. Plus, it also gets people, like, if it's good, it gets people excited about the album. And so it's kind of testing the waters to see, are people going to buy this or are they not?
And I've never been a big radio listener either, even when people actually listen to the radio. Do people still listen to the radio?
Gosh, there's internet radio now. People listen to that, but the regular radio, I know it's on, because I hit it by accident sometimes and it comes on.
Anyway, I've never been a real radio listener. But I'll be a band follower. So if like a band comes out with an album, I'm going to buy the album and I'm going to listen to the album, track 1 to track.
And something else, if people love the single, they'll buy the album.
That's true.
And they'll spend a little bit more money and get more songs. So that's,
And now, I just listen to iTunes.
Yep, that's right. I mean, I know it's not that great for artists and stuff, but I love having anything that you want to listen to, because we do the plan. Pretty much anything you want to listen to, you can listen to it.
Yeah.
Having access to all
I
that
keep
great
trying
music.
to tell, like, when I'm in the car with Carter or Evan, and they want to hear a song, I always tell them, click on the album. Like, at least click on the album, and so you can, like, get an understanding of this album, or this song goes on this album. Here's what it's called. Here's where it is.
Because that matters. It's like a great book. It's like only reading the third chapter of a great book and not reading because it all, artists would have a feel for the whole album on purpose. And you miss that if you just listen to the one song.
Yeah, that's true. So Christine wrote this song.
All by herself, no co-writing whatsoever? Okay.
I mean, lyrics and melody and tune, yes.
Okay.
I am sure that each instrumentalist...
Oh, I don't mean that. I mean, when you write a song, the chords,
yes, she wrote
the melody. Okay.
So she was she was with Fleetwood Mac prior to them being like an American band.
So they were more bluesy.
Call them that. When they were more bluesy. And she did songwriting then, but in the book that I read, the producer Ken Caillat talked about how them kind of like crossing over into a little more like, I don't know, pop or whatever that like Southern California rock that was emerging at that time, like the Eagles and probably the Doobie Brothers. that really suited her style.
Yeah.
Much more so, it suited her songwriting style much more so than straight blues.
Yeah.
However, I think she's a blues singer.
Oh yeah.
She really has that like
I know.
deep bluesy.
And this song is just blues. I mean, just
Yes.
Well, in fact, rock and roll is just the blues sped up. You can do it this way. Or you gonna? But it's all blues, and there's 3 chords in the song, and you have this boogie woogie bluesy bass line, and she doesn't do a lot of the licks I was throwing in on the album thing.
Right.
I bet she does more during a live performance.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But definitely lends itself to some really cool right hand blues stuff on the piano.
And I didn't look up a lot about each band member individually because it's kind of, when we're in our research, I have to make sure I keep it very focused. So this was a very focused research on how the album actually came together, the production of it, and things like that. When you have a whole band and lots of personalities and lots of dynamics, you can kind of go down rabbit holes that are not productive for what we're doing.
Yeah.
So individually, band members, I didn't spend a lot of time, but I do not think she was classically trained. So we've talked about Elton John, we've talked about Billy Joel before, Carole King, classically trained.
Yeah, they've all had some classical
musicians.
background. Yeah.
No one in Fleetwood Mac could read music, which not necessary.
No.
For
none of the Beatles could read music.
Right. Yeah, not necessary. But like, to me, that just says so much about her musicianship on the keys, is because she knew, like, she just could play so many styles very well. Very, she didn't play sloppy. When they talked about in the recording process, she didn't have to just do her parts over and over. Like when she was ready to lay it down, it was ready to be laid down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she would be critical of herself, of course.
Yeah.
Like everyone. But
well, her keys, as far as her keys playing, I can definitely feel the blues influence. Vocally, I hear some just some Joni Mitchell influence. By the way, she'll with their voice, how she'll kind of and there's and even
a lot of people do that
when we not like she's doing, like in Songbird. Well, she'll have extra notes that are more of an instrumental.
Well,
like Joni made an instrument out of her voice.
When we get to Songbird, that to me is a completely removed style.
Yeah. But even in that, her vocal lines have extra flourishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's what I really love about Fleetwood Mac. So I think it's rare to have a band where you have, I feel like they either usually all work together to write songs, or you have one person that's like mainly the songwriter that brings most of the songs to the table, and then they collaborate.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's rare. So you had Lindsey Buckingham. He wrote songs and brought them. Stevie Nicks wrote songs and brought them. Christine wrote songs and brought them. And they also gave each other full credit. So, like, yes, she wrote the song.
Yeah.
But they didn't say Fleetwood Mac. Now, there are songs on this album where it is written by Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
But this one, they give credit just to Christine. And in a band that clearly is full of egos.
Yeah.
In this area, I feel like they weren't, at least not at this time.
Yeah.
I don't know how they've been since.
Yeah.
How it gets kind of muddy. Like, can Stevie Nicks perform this song at her concerts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I always wonder how they work all that out. Yeah. Because they get royalties.
Yeah.
How do they work all that out?
So I don't know how it's all going now.
Yeah.
For Fleetwood Mac, or how it's gone. But I really kind of liked that about when I was doing the research, that Christine wrote the song. She got the credit. And then also she was the songwriter. But when you're really listening, she and Lindsey are going back and forth singing. I would say
never knew that.
Equally are singing the exact same amount of lines.
Well, she's got a low voice for a female. He's got a high voice for a male. And they really sound quite similar.
They did albums together after.
Oh, really?
They did an album together in the 90s. and then toured together.
Okay. Well, that says a lot.
They're definitely a musical duo that works well.
That says a lot, because usually when a band breaks up, they're trying to get away. They don't want to go back to any. But for them to be together
here's
after
the thing.
that.
They were never a couple.
Yeah.
I think they really respected each other musically. So their relationship was really like about the music, which is probably super helpful. But Christine, remember, was married to the bassist.
Yeah.
And they had divorced prior to recording this album. And I'm probably reading into the lyrics a little bit. But when you think of all the songs Christine wrote at this time, what they were going through, like, personally, I feel like I can kind of read into the type of person she was.
Okay.
I mean, in the studio, she was definitely no nonsense. Like, no nonsense. All business, ready to work, irritated when people are not. And then in her relationship, I think she always had like, yes, this is sad. Like, I recognize this is sad. I am sad. This is horrible. But always like a positive outlook.
Yeah.
Looking forward. I mean, and it's all over these lyrics.
Yeah. Even Songbird, which we know what that's about.
Yeah, don't talk about Songbird yet.
Okay, but
that one makes me cry.
Oh, I'm just going to mention that it's a sad. I mean, it's about sad, and kind of, the music is that way, but it still has a light in it, an optimism, for the future. It's not all just dreary. And
so,
I think you're right about that.
Like, you can really look into the type of person she was. Like, I'm not going to brush it under the carpet that it's sad or not sad.
Yeah.
But I'm going to acknowledge it, and then I'm going to say, but look, there's hope for the future. Yeah. That's literally what the song is about.
Oh, yeah, and this song rocks. I mean, it gets stuck in your head, and you cannot get it out.
That is true. Anyway, it's like an upbeat way to look at hard times.
And there's really not much to it. I mean, you hear the piano in there, not a whole lot, but you hear kind of underlying. But piano can carry it. It's a piano-driven song. There's not much to it. There's a little guitar solo in the middle, but it's just basically a blues progression, chord progression, and they're just singing a happy tune to it.
Yeah, it worked.
There's not much harmony, if any, is there? I think they trade off singing.
They just trade off. Like, not even a full line of singing. She sings the first.
Now, that's odd. That's not usually
because
done.
We were originally going to do it like that, and that was just like, we're not laying down tracks. So that.
Yeah. Now, I remember you making a comment one time that they thought that was one of their appeal, is that you don't get tired of the same voice all the time.
I watched an interview with Stevie Nicks. It was like an Australian interview, some Australian media outlet. And she was talking about that she felt like the appeal of their Rumors album and Fleetwood Mac in general was that they had 3 singers that had 3 distinct sounds, that there was from one song to the next, you got something completely different, that was the draw, which is interesting to me because I think of like albums that are epic because like from the first track to the last track, like Abbey Road. It's just like an album that seamlessly goes together. I don't like to listen to the songs out of order. Yeah. It's just perfection, like the progression from one song into the next. But at the same time, I also like to listen to a Fleetwood Mac album, like Rumors especially, start to finish, in order. Yeah. Because I know that they thoughtfully put these songs in order.
Oh, most definitely.
Because we're not going to talk about it because it's not on the album, but Silver Springs was a song that Stevie Nicks wrote, and it ended up on the next album, Tusks. They spent a ton of time working on that song for this album, and then they said it didn't fit because of like time. I'm like, this is a very short album. Like duration from start to finish. Yeah. It's not very long.
Oh, they meant time for the whole album. Okay.
They said it didn't fit on the album.
Oh, like physically it wouldn't fit. Okay.
I guess. I think it didn't fit style-wise. Okay. Because you already had Dreams. You already have Gold Dust Woman. And then you have Christine's Songbird. Like, I just don't think Silver Springs fits.
Yeah.
I think it would have changed the like ebb and flow of the album.
Yeah.
So it didn't make the album, but they spent a majority of their time on that song for this album.
Yeah.
Which you actually can on iTunes. There's a Fleetwood Mac Rumors album that's like reissued or something, remastered, and it does include the songs that they wanted included. I think it's better without.
Yeah.
I've only listened to the like original Rumors one.
Cool. And for people that are watching us for the first time, don't know what we're about, what are these guys doing here? I am a piano teacher, and I specialize in online lessons in teaching people how to play their favorite songs without having to read music. Because a lot of people struggle with reading music. Either they can't do it, or it's a roadblock to them. They know they have talent, but reading music is just getting in the way.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, right. So that tends to be the majority of my online students. But it is webpianoteacher.com, and I have thousands and thousands of lessons that I've done over the past 15 years now. And it's just, if you do an overhead view, you can see the letters here. And I just use letters instead of actual, note heads and staff paper. And we just learned that way. I talk about chords. I do rhythms. People that tend to play by ear a lot do really well with my lessons. And it's just been a way for people to learn, a kind of a life preserver for people who just really want to play and they just can't do it any other way. But they found that this method works.
And your arrangements you make are unique in you're listening to the album itself, doing a bit of an arrangement, adding in bass parts or guitar parts and piano, kind of a mishmash.
Right, yeah, so you're not going to find my exact arrangements anywhere else because I'm the only one who does them. But I try to be exact as I can because you don't want to, nothing's more disappointing than wanting to play a song. And you get the sheet music at home, you start working on it, you're halfway through it and you realize, this doesn't sound like what Elton's playing. This is not what he's doing, And so, he's wasted all his time. You want to sound like Elton does. You want to play the stuff he does. So that's what I try to do. I try to give you what's actually going on with the music that you love, and then sometimes I'll tweak it and add a guitar part in the right hand, like you were saying, because if it's a cool part that's really part of the song, why not? Let's play it. If the piano isn't doing anything, I'll put it in there. But you kind of have to really know what to leave out and what to put in. When you do
love that you leave the vocal line out. You're not playing that.
Yeah, not usually.
Sometimes you do, but for the whatever arrangement.
Right, the great majority is just, playing along and someone singing, or if you want to play along with a recording or whatever.
Because it is fun. It is so much fun for me to get to sing along to these arrangements.
If I was playing the melody, it would screw it all up.
I'd be like,
hey.
don't try to steal my spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I mean, and melody in the right hand is great, but,
it just evokes elevator riding, grocery shopping,
it does.
Dentist office waiting.
Yeah. So that's what I do. So you want to check the lessons out. The part ones on the website are all free to watch if you want to give a chance just to look at it and see what you think. Anyway, there's my commercial.
And then...
you can download the sheet as well.
Yes,
if you're
you
a member, you can download my PDF file of whatever we're working on.
So I was going to say, too, this song is maybe, I don't know, slightly more popular than the other ones. There was a resurgence of this song. So it was released in 1977 with the album. There was a resurgence in 1992.
92? Why would 92?
Because Bill Clinton...
Okay. Oh, here we go.
Song.
Okay.
You know how like any politician will kind of select a song for their theme?
Sure.
So he picked this one. And musicians and their politicking. They really get behind somebody. They're passionate. They're passionate people.
If anybody would want Yesterday to be gone, you should see him.
But I was just going to say,
Yesterday's gone.
I was trying to keep it light. He picked this as his campaign theme song.
Okay.
So the band was even broken up.
Okay.
They were, it's pretty nasty when Fleetwood Mac breaks up with each other.
Yeah. Isn't it always?
Mostly the personality of certain band members. But they were broken up and they came back together to do his inauguration. And anyway, that's power, man.
It is. It is. It really is. Well, we were I know you love that movie, Almost Famous. We were watching the Cameron Crowe
Well, because
audio.
our anniversary is tomorrow.
Okay, that's right. And I already got you your present early.
I know, 19 years.
Yeah.
And
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Really nerdy about one thing in my life, and that's this movie for some reason.
Yeah.
I really don't get over the top on anything else.
So yeah, I bought her the collector's edition that's got so much cool stuff in it. Way more than I thought it was going to have.
I think in like 2020 or 20,
it was the 20-year
20-year anniversary.
Yeah. But I remember Cameron was talking about, he said for some reason, and if anybody knows what bands tend to be like, it would be him, who was around them all the time. He said for some reason lead frontmen, tend to get this idea that they do more than everybody else. That they're carrying the weight.
They can't do this without them.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
but Lindsey Buckingham could make the argument that they couldn't do it without.
But you know what? He couldn't do it without them.
He couldn't either.
They're like if they're the toe, you still need the toe.
Right. But I could make the argument: was Fleetwood Mac the Fleetwood Mac we know until Lindsey Buckingham came on the scene?
Yeah.
I mean, they have a handful of good songs that we know that are very popular from like the 60s. Black Magic Woman. She's a black magic woman. That's
But the chemistry was right. And he was a part, I don't think he just came in and made them great. I think there's always a certain chemistry.
Yes.
That happens.
I agree. They were the right amount of crazy, the right amount of genius, the right amount of just like a perfect little potion.
And we get to benefit with all this great music.
We do. And I think that's why I really like Christine, because she seems to be like, when I'm working on the music, it's about the music.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring anything else into it. But I think they just kept trying to recreate it after it, I don't know, quote unquote, quit working.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was just a little unsatisfied. And they would come back together. Yeah. It'd be what everybody wanted, like the fans, I mean. Mm-hmm. And then again, it would just...
Yeah, and I truly think that, I mean, because you do all the research and you let me know what's going on because I don't want to read it, but I can't pay attention. But I don't think they made this great album in spite of all the problems. I think actually all the problems contributed to this great music because musicians tend to write their greatest stuff. Even writers and anybody who's creative has their greatest productive output, uniqueness when they're going through real struggles. I really
probably
think that.
I wouldn't put myself in the category of songwriter, but
maybe not you, but I think
the only time I want to write a song is if I'm from a joyful place.
Yeah.
If I'm not in a joyful place, I'm like, I don't want anyone knowing about this. I don't want to expose my innermost thoughts.
Well, you're normal, and these guys are weird,
Not weird. I think a lot of people are like, I think I am maybe less normal.
The word's not the right word. Just different. Just walk to the beat of a different drum. And I think some great stuff comes out of great despair, great life turmoil. You find that theme over and over again, and it makes me glad that I never was in that. In that, if I would have to live some of the lives that they've had, but personally, but then we have this great Rumors album. You should listen to it let me give this suggestion to you. First, if you can get a record, that's great because that's the way it was listened to. Yeah. And there's a sound on a record that you do not get on a CD or listening to an MP3 file. You just don't get. I don't know what the science is behind it, but they haven't been able to do that yet, where you get the infinite depth and quality of a record, listening to a record, getting some good quality headphones, and just laying down on the bed and don't do anything else.
Yeah. Get a cup of coffee and just enjoy the moment. This is a short, from start to finish, it's relatively a short album.
Yeah. It's 40 minutes or is it even that long? Yeah, something like that. And don't do anything else while you're listening. Just listen.
Yeah. We've lost that ability.
Yeah, we certainly have with all
But you can get it back.
You can.
You can. It takes a little practice, actually.
You can. I'll give you an example. I thought I was someone who couldn't read and pay attention, and I finally made myself finish a book, and now I read all the time, and I can finally I can pay attention again. But I think not doing it for so long and all the distractions of technology and life, especially when you have a family, you get out of practice of it.
But we talked about with the first episode, secondhand news.
Mm-hmm.
If you will do this, if you will put it into practice of like really listening, this album has so many hidden gems of sounds, of mistakes, of things that will just bring you, like put you in the recording room in 1977 with Fleetwood Mac.
Uh-huh.
It really will like transport you to that place.
Yeah. Especially if you lived during that time and you're going back. And
I didn't. And it's still like, I feel a little choked up in my throat just because and we'll get to it in other songs, blaring mistakes that they chose to leave in and chose to make it a part of the song instead of redoing it. And they did a lot of redoing because these were some perfectionists to a terrible fault.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's my plug for headphones and just really listening to the album.
Definitely.
One thing I think is really interesting too, just about the music industry and how it was in the 70s. The producer of this album was saying, and I'm going to try to find the exact quote, that the labels now, because he's still a producer, so I feel like he can say this with knowledge, the record companies will try to like milk an album for every penny that it can earn, and then they'll send you back in to cut a new album. In the 70s, that wasn't so. 60s and 70s. They would get you in the recording studio, you'd be recording, and you would also be touring.
Yeah.
So Fleetwood Mac had, and I'm like, this could be why this album is so great. While they were touring, promoting the Fleetwood Mac album, like it's self-titled, they were also performing songs from this upcoming album that they were working on. They got immediate feedback from the most important consumer, the fans. So if Lindsey Buckingham was kind of like working on a solo, didn't quite have it, kind of had an idea. If he got awesome feedback at a concert, he could go into the studio when they got back into town and lay that one down. And I just think there's probably no better feedback than what you get from the audience. Yeah. And so this album is the product of them getting feedback while they were on the road and being able to come in. I'm like, I was reading that and I thought that makes so much sense. Why doesn't everybody do that?
Yeah.
Because we're not.
Well, for a true performer, musician, there's no greater compliment than for the hearers in a live performance to really be engaged and really be changed by your music. There's no greater compliment. You can keep it to yourself, forever and enjoy what you did, but there's something that is so far greater satisfaction-wise when other people love it, enjoy it, and can't get enough of it.
Yeah. Let's play it out.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Okay, all right. Hands asleep.